Hey Brad, welcome to the GAC RMHC Golf Classic. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your dress position, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. We can see your spine's nice and straight and on a nice tilt. Legs come down in a nicely unlocked position. Arms hang down off your tilted spine. Club works out to the ball. So achieving really good posture in association with really good balance. Let's go ahead and take a look at your alignment. We can see your feet running in this direction. Carry that out towards the fairway. Theoretically, your club face is supposed to run parallel. Your feet in parallel lines on camera would have an appearance of converging. And with that scenario, we can see that you're set up right down the center of the fairway. So that's terrific. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Jordan Spieth. We've got some color-coded lines up on the screen here just to use as visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. We can see with Jordan, as he initiates his takeaway, he creates good shoulder rotation, bringing the arms and hands back as well as the golf club. At this point in time, we want to see the club coming back directly along the red line. We also want to start to achieve some good wrist hinge into play where we're transitioning the club from below to above our hands. And then we want to work the golf club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we want to have the left arm and the club on the yellow line within the blue-yellow V zone or the blue line itself, which is what we see with Jordan Spieth. At the top of the backswing, we want to make sure we've created full shoulder rotation and that we've executed this upon a very stable right leg. We can see with you as you initiate your takeaway here, you draw your hands outside away from your core. That's taking the club shaft and your club head outside of your swing plane. So one of the things you want to do when you draw a golf club back is you simply just want to let your hands and the club move ever so softly inside and around you. The golf swing is this circular motion. It's an arc. So a circular motion works to the inside. It doesn't work to the outside. So it's a very simple move as we draw the golf club back as opposed to picking it up and taking it outside. As we continue to move here, I love the geometry of your arms to your core. I love the geometry of the club to the arms. It's just that if we had your hands back over here on plane, the club shaft would also be on plane and the club head would be perfectly in this position and the backswing plane would be absolutely perfect. Okay? Anyways, as we continue to move back here, want to start to see some wrist hinge occur. So right there, we're still a little bit stiff-wristed with the golf club. We get a little bit of wrist hinge there, and look at how you let the club fall behind your hands, because now your subconscious brain is understanding that we got to shallow this club out. So you let that club head fall in behind you. Club's starting to recover back into a good position. Arms are starting to swing around you a little bit more. Definitely have shallowed out now. So considering the fact that you initiated a takeaway that went outside, we're actually going to end up getting set in a bit of a shallow position. So that's quite the move back to the inside, dropping it and shallowing everything out. When we finally get to the top of the backswing, one of the things I can see in your golf swing that you definitely need to learn to do is learn how to create better wrist hinge. Because when you finally get to the top of the backswing, you're a little bit stiff-wristed with the golf club. You do create very good shoulder rotation. You maintain your axis in the posture that we established at address, so you're rotating about that position, which is fabulous. Very stable right leg. But we can see here your arm geometry is also pretty solid, where your left arm's within that blue-yellow V zone, but we do get the club very late off, and that just means the club shaft and club head are pointed way left. That club shaft and club head are not getting situated within the blue line. As we go ahead and complete the top of the backswing, we can see the club even lay off more. So at this point in time, it's going to be really difficult for you to get that golf club right back onto plane coming into the ball. And what we mean by that is, let's take a look at the left side of the screen. As we transition back to impact, we simply want to drive our weight from our right foot to our left. We want to fire our knees and our hips to the target. We want to unwind our core and we want to fire our hands. And we want to bring the golf club from wherever it was situated within that blue-yellow V zone back down on top of red. And that's exactly what we see here with Jordan Spieth. The golf club has returned back to being on plane. The other thing we want to observe at this stage of the golf swing is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club, and I refer to this as the backwards check mark. And it simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind his hands coming into the hitting zone, which is going to allow him to create a lot of power in his golf swing, let alone his ability to hit the ball straight due to the fact that the club, as we already mentioned, returned back to plane, which is a specific ingredient required to hit the ball straight. With your position at the top of the backswing, the club really laid off. Let's go ahead and watch your transition back in the ball. So your hands come over the top, down yellow. Obviously, as your hands come down yellow out towards blue, you're throwing the club away from red. So let's go to the next frame here. So the club shaft is now steepened out and is in a much, much better position. This looks really good. I still think with the top of your backswing and where it was, I just don't think that we're going to be able to see that golf club return back to being on plane. I love the fact right now, the relationship between your lead forearm and your golf club. I love the fact that you still have your backwards check mark. It's just that I don't think we're going to see this club return back to plane. So let's go ahead and follow the club head coming into the ball. Let's actually make that yellow. And let's go to the next frame. So there we go. Yeah, the shaft is now actually starting to steepen out. So ironically, at the top of your swing, your shaft was shallow. Now all of a sudden it's more steep. So this does mean with your hand movement, as you create your transition back in the ball with that little over the top move, it's influencing the club, it's throwing the club out in front, that's steepening the shaft of the club, and ultimately you're going to be attacking the ball a little bit from outside to inside. So if we go ahead and track the club head here, connect the dots, we can get a pretty good visual as to the descending plane of that club. Again, with Jordan Spieth, his golf club hit the ball way back here. It started to come into the golf ball and is following this red line coming into the ball directly from on plane. And as I already stipulated, this is the single main criteria that's going to allow you to hit the ball straight in accordance to our alignment, as long as the club face squares up via having a good grip. So if we want consistency and we want to hit a ball straight, three things we need. We have to aim well. The feet have to run parallel left of our target line. The club has to return back to plane. If the club returns back to plane, that gives us the ability to hit the ball in accordance to our alignment. And then lastly, for this all to come together, the club face has to square up. At this point in time, we can go ahead and clear this stuff off the screen. We can take a look at the pass of the club. We can see with Jordan, his club is inside the ball, expands out to make contact, and moves through on a nice natural subtle arc. Your club is too much directly behind the ball, dropping down and across to make contact. So see the path the golf club is moving on. Okay. Also, the club face looked like it hit the ball with the ball in the toe of the club. Club face also spun open. But luckily, golf clubs are designed these days, when we do hit the ball off the toe of the club, we don't leak the ball too far to the right. At this point in time, what we can see is again, the path is swinging across. If we happen to square the club face up to that path, very simply put, what's going to happen is we are going to pull the ball a little bit to the left. If we over-release the club to that path, not only will we pull the ball, but we'd hit some form of a pull draw or a pull hook, depending on how much that club face released. If we leave the club face open relative to the path, the ball can get blocked out a little bit right of that. Then we just have a little bit of left to right spin on the ball because the club face was open, and we'll just hit this nice little fade. There won't be any issues. If we leave the club face too open to the path, we end up blocking the ball to the right, which is incredible due to the fact that we're swinging the club to the left. And in that particular case, obviously the club face was wide open, and we're going to hit some form of a block slice, and the ball's going to go in this direction. So the end result of your golf shot is dictated based on the timing of the club face. When the club attacks the ball from the outside, strikes the ball, and moves to the inside, if we over-release the club, it follows yellow. Under-release the club, it follows blue. And if we time it properly, it'll follow red and will find the intended target. Through the ball, I like the fact that your right heel's off the ground, exactly like Jordan Spieth. As we carry this golf swing through, we can see his right heel continues further up off the ground. He gets on the toe of his right foot. This allows us to displace all our weight on our left side when we're done. It allows the hips to square around. His shoulders can now fully rotate, and we also see that his hands are nice and high with the club back and behind him. Let's see how we carry through with you. Excellent job. Great footwork, Great motion through the finish, looks really, really good. And overall, you do have some really excellent athletic characteristics with respect to your golf swing. Love how your hands work. They come back, they fire through. You got good coil. You coil back, you uncoil through. You got great footwork that allows us to get through to an awesome finish. So some really, really nice athleticism here, but geometrically speaking, as it pertains to your dynamic move, we can see that you drive this golf club a little outside. We'll actually get this going in slow motion. You drive this club outside, you then bring the club back, you start to really shallow it out to the point where the club gets too shallow. You then make a little over the top move with your hands. That influences the club to attack the ball too steep and ultimately attack from out to in. And at that point in time, you've got to manipulate with the club face not to lose that golf ball left. So therefore, you're leaving the club face open and hopefully be able to just sort of hit either a pull straight shot, a subtle pull fade, or a subtle pull draw. The problems arise is when you do over-release this club with this downswing plane, it's going left. If you leave it too open, it's fading and slicing right. If you time it okay, it will find the intended target. So again, excellent athleticism. Do have to improve the geometry of the downswing to be more consistent based on the 3 criteria that I talked about. And if you could get those 3 things happening in conjunction with the great athleticism that we're seeing here, you could certainly become a great ball striker on a very consistent basis. Okay? Anyways, at any point in time you ever want to work on these aspects of your golf swing, I'm based out at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to structure a program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all and you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide your guests, touch base and I'd be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video and hope you had a great day.